we've got the ACC, and we got the 2024 playoff odds for the ACC teams. Clemson and Florida State are atop pretty much every list that you're going to look at that regards anything to do with the ACC and playoff or conference championship odds. I'll go ahead and say it. If I got one team that you know what? Actually, I think I just found maybe my favorite bet. I really like Miami, Mason, to make the 12-team college football playoff. I think it's so possible. But here's what the College Football Playoff Committee doesn't respect this conference, though, and that's what gives me a little bit of hesitancy. As we've seen with all the financial stuff that we've seen, all the deals that have been done on television networks and all that, blah, 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 the ACC is valued around about the same as the Big 12. Now, there's a few more teams that Vegas has put out odds for them to make the college football playoff, so I think that's probably an indicator that there's more of a guarantee that a team from the ACC, could actually be a formidable opponent in a national championship race. But I don't know, man. Like, how many teams do you think are going to get in from the ACC? Because they're not going to have as many as the SEC or Big Ten, and I feel like your fourth place SEC or Big Ten team is going to be very comparable to probably like the second best ACC team, So, and I know the College Football Playoff Committee feels the same way, considering, Florida State went all the way undefeated until they got the absolute brakes beat off of them by my glorious Georgia Bulldogs at the end of the year. And College Football Playoff Committee said, "Nah, you're not good enough." Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on this list? Where do you see some value? How many of these ACC teams do you think actually have a chance to get in?
I think that you could see two of these teams. I don't think it would stretch higher than two, more than likely. But to me, I really like Louisville in this position. At plus 360, they hit the transfer portal like nobody's business. They've got some pretty good talent coming in. They've got Tyler Shook at quarterback coming in. And I just think for the value here, right? Put $10 on them, triple your money, more than triple your money, by putting $10 on them. I don't think that would be a bad play. I'm not telling you to go, bet the house or anything like that, but
sell your house and bet your mortgage.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead and do that.
Yeah. We're not sponsored by anybody. We're not telling you to do that, but you could.
Yeah. But so, I mean, I think that Louisville's makes sense. If you're telling me a team that doesn't make the playoffs, you could get some money on, I would probably have to go with Florida State. I think that not having a quarterback, really, I mean, DJU coming in new, we kind of know what we're going to get out of him, but he's not a Heisman contender like we thought he was initially. Not to mention, you're not getting the DJU that you saw at Oregon State. You're getting 265-pound DJU. He's put on a couple pounds since he left Oregon State.
Has he? Oh, man.
He's been on the crab leg diet down there at Florida State, and so he's we're getting all
we got not DJU, we have DJ Huge.
Yeah. Wow. We've got DJW. So
DJ Huge in the house.
Yeah. So maybe that means he's running over some ACC defenders, but
very slowly.
I don't know what we're gonna get out of him. So, and then not to mention the wide receiver talent that left. So,
yeah,
I'm not saying that they can't make the playoffs, but for betting purposes here, I think that'd be a pretty good bet with positive money.
Yeah. And we kid about DJU. I think he's a super nice guy, but I think it's hilarious when he takes off running. I have this reoccurring dream, right, that it's me trying to sprint in an undisclosed location, but I have a parachute attached to me, and I can't sprint. And I'm literally like leaning all the way forward, almost like touching the ground in front, trying to pull this parachute. And that's what I feel like DJU looks like when he runs. Like he has a massive parachute behind him, and it's like, how is he possibly moving that slow? It kind of looks like when you go back and watch like film from like the 40s or something football, and they're just like,
Mm-hmm.
like barely moved. And that's what I feel like DJU does whenever it lumbers around the field. Um, Look, he had a decent year last year. It was not a bad year. He leaves, a place like Corvallis and comes to a much, better weather climate. I would say in Tallahassee, and will probably have a lot better weapons around him. So, I'm not saying that he cannot be successful in that offense. I think he definitely can, but um, just not my favorite quarterback in the world. And but Florida State, maybe they'll have a steady guy. Well, they got a guy that's got a lot of experience anyway, right?
Well,
So
then on the defensive side of the ball, look at who they were against Georgia, right, and how they matched up. That's the team that is coming back this coming year, right? That the only players who weren't playing for the most part, other than Rodemaker who transferred out, were players who are going to the NFL or leaving
yeah,
the program in some capacity. So that's the team that you're left with is the one that got drugged by Georgia. On top of that, obviously they had a recruiting class and they got like seemingly 10 players from Alabama, but still, I don't think that those. I think it was literally like 8 players that they got out of the transfer portal, and a ton of freshmen. That's not going to make a difference, right? That doesn't make you a playoff team, even in a 12-team playoff. So, I'm sliding on Florida State here a little bit, but maybe they'll upset me. Maybe I'll change my mind before the end of the season or before the end of the preseason. I'm well within my right to do that. But today I'm going to trash Florida State just a little bit.
how dare you, sir?